It's been close to 27 hours since I've experienced Oppenheimer in 70mm IMAX. I was one of the few lucky ones who got to actually watch it in 70mm IMAX screen because from where I live, which is in Manchester, there is a screening here at Printworks View which actually has a 70mm IMAX projector. And oh boy, yeah, I don't know where do I even start. But then, hello everyone, my name is Sujin and welcome back to my channel. And in this video, essentially, we are going to talk about my experience watching a film in 70mm IMAX for the first time, specifically the Oppenheimer. And let's start with it. There is no words in terms of how to summarize my experience. I'm just absolutely blown away. It was the first day. It was 21st of July, and we went to a 3 p.m. noon evening show, and it was full. So the theater that we went to is called View, and it is in Printworks in central Manchester, and it is one of those only three screens in UK that is having the 70mm screenings happening. And getting to witness that in the first day is just it's crazy if you think about it. So as you know, you must have known already, there are only 30 screens in the entire world that currently is capable of showcasing true 70mm IMAX, and there are 3 in UK, I think 6 in Canada, and the rest is spread out between US and other parts of the world. So, and here the View Printworks Manchester, the screen that I went to, is the second largest screen in UK, next to BFI, which is known for like the home of IMAX in UK. And this is the second one, and oh boy, when we entered the screen, and then when I just looked up, it was massive. It was absolutely massive. I think I will put the list as to what the seat capacity is. It is around close to 380, and it was packed. Obviously, it is the first day, and I don't think anyone's gonna miss this experience. Before we talk about this movie, I want to touch upon how I got this excitement for 70mm IMAX in the first place. The first film that kind of grabbed my attention is Dunkirk. I didn't get to watch it on 70mm IMAX or even IMAX, so I watched it on DVD once the official versions were out. I didn't get the excitement at the time because I was too young. I was not into these kinds of stuff. But then specifically the scene where the dogfight scenes where the plane flies around, and I think it was shot on IMAX, and but it cuts between showing the scale and the vastness of the ocean and the sky, and to an intimate close-up of the pilot. I think that was shot in 65. I'm not sure, but when I looked at the frame of a specific frame, I can't remember, of that fighter plane just flying across, and then you see this entire ocean on the bottom, the huge sky. It is like absolutely blown away. And that is when I was like, oh, this format is insane. Dunkirk was that movie that hit me like, mate, there is something about this format that kind of separates it. And I started kind of following and learning more about the intricacies and trying to understand how this format works. Again, I'm no perfectionist. There are so many people who knows this format better than me. Then again, and just want to experience. I just want to share my experience and get the excitement across to you, so that you should go and watch this movie in the 70mm IMAX or screen if you can. That is the goal of this video essentially. When he announced that he's gonna do a biopic of Oppenheimer's life, I was like, yeah, probably he's gonna bring the A game to it, with being Tenet not doing so well in the box office, and I was really looking forward. And leading up to this release, I was really invested in trying to understand the behind the scenes and what actually happened. And there is a great blog that Kodak published right after, I think yesterday or the day before, talking with Hoytema, who's the DOP whose work I absolutely admire. He shot pretty much all the big IMAX films, from Interstellar to Dunkirk to Tenet and now Oppenheimer. He's also shot films like Her and Nope, which again look phenomenal. And he is that guy who knows all about this format. And in this film, oh boy, I'm telling you, it's the frames and the kind of level that he has taken this 70mm IMAX format is something else. So the 70mm IMAX actually means the size of the IMAX film is 70mm. traditionally all the motion picture film is 35 mm. So this is a 35 mm photographic film, and it runs horizontally, but then 35 mm motion picture film runs vertically. So it's essentially like this, but then it is a slightly smaller into comparing to a photographic film as well. It is 4 puff, but then here I think it's, since it's running horizontally, it's 8 puff. It is close to 8 puff. And 70mm IMAX screen is also runs horizontally, and the length is the height is 70 mm, and it has 15 perforations. Essentially the holes help film move. Again, that the scale and the frame size, it is one of the biggest, biggest experience or biggest canvas till now. I read it somewhere, like right after the screening. I was trying to understand, just to get a sense for myself as to how big the format was. I think Forbes wrote a great article as to where you can see the IMAX film, and then there was a line and mentioned that it is almost 8.5 times bigger than this 35mm film. So imagine the scale and how big each frame is. So when you actually see that, and for the first time on that huge screen, and then when the frame blew up from traditional aspect ratio to and fill the entire screen, which I think I'll try to bring this across this video. Again, I'm shooting this in 20 mm at a full frame film, full frame sense. This is not a perfect example, let's say, but then you kind of get the aspect. There is so much more space and stuff, and being this tall and having this much scope in terms of frame, having this huge canvas in a way and huge sensor size of sorts, there is a lot of advantages that come with it as well. It is a huge film, almost 16K in terms of resolution. Someone posted this 11K scan from the Oppenheimer's film, and he zooms out, and you can see the depth and the detail and the sharpness of this IMAX format is something else. You have to experience it in order to understand it, because since I've experienced, I'm trying to think how I can put across what I'm feeling like when I saw this format for the first time. It's beyond what you can see. It is so sharp that it makes the 65 mm, which in itself is a huge canvas size, kind of because once you have seen that IMAX film, once I saw that frame, the huge, when it fills up the entire screen in that 1.4:3:1 aspect ratio, there is no going back, and you sat there waiting when the next frame is gonna come, and Nolan has made the best out of it in terms of try making it using it on the perfect scenes, the right scenes. And again, as a movie, it has done justice. I don't know. It is one of the best experiences that I've ever had, and this film kind of puts you in a seat, trying to understand essentially what Oppenheimer was thinking, and we get to experience it firsthand. And there is a specific sequence. The most of it was shot in 70mm IMAX screen, and I think that was pure cinema. Every single department brought their A game, and when we were watching it, it was around the end of second act, right before the third act began. You're sat there and you're literally pulled into that Oppenheimer's head, and then experiencing it firsthand as to what he went through right after the Trinity test happened. And it was, oh my god, absolutely breathtaking stuff from this film. And Nolan, he shoots to direct essentially, because IMAX film as a format is hard, because digital you can always go for a retake, but then here essentially you have to write to shoot. And he exactly knew, I think, was to how the edit was gonna happen, and the sound design and the score from Ludwig throughout the movie. Oh my god, it was phenomenal. But that scene just brought that whole 70mm IMAX experience to a whole new level. It was crazy. So in terms of technical aspects, the film was shot by Hoytema and Hoytema between 70mm IMAX film and 65mm film. I read the blog from Kodak where he mentioned that he used 2 film stocks, 3 essentially, which I'll talk about, and the 2 being the Kodak Vision 3 250 D, which is a daylight balance one, and Kodak Vision 3 500T, which is a tungsten balance for night scenes. And he mentions that it is one of the most flexible terms of film, and that gets the job done. And I say, and luckily I recently bought this roll, which is a 35mm 250D, and I also have I'm currently shooting on 500T films. I'm no how and stuff like that, but then I'm really excited as to how this turns out. Just wanted to share that as well. So yeah, and for the first time with this movie as well, they went beyond the normal as per usual with Nolan and IMAX. They created a completely new 65mm black and white film stock, and they partnered with Kodak, and they came up with a new. It's not that it's essentially repurposed the existing Kodak double X negative, which is used for which is a motion picture film, black and white film, 35mm black and white film, was for this large format for 65mm, and they have short sequences in that as well, in IMAX camera as well. They had to go back and re-engineer and try to fit that film into that IMAX cameras. And again, the black and white, when it came up for the first time in 70mm with Robert Downey Jr.'s face as Louis Strauss, oh boy, that was something else. The beauty is that the definition and the clarity and the crispness that you can get is insane. As I told you, it is. I will try to. That is a website that I found that kind of puts you in perspective as to what an iPhone sensor is compared to 15 per 70mm IMAX sensor, which I found, which that puts in perspective as to how big this frame is, how big this format is. And yeah, it was amazing. I think anyone who's watching around the world, again, due to the limited screenings, there are limited theaters that actually showcase this format in pure 70mm film, IMAX film, but then you still can go to any other IMAX. In terms of, I list, there are so many people in terms of, and one being KD Cloudy, and who's a tech YouTuber that I really follow. He's also pretty into IMAX and stuff. He was the one who kind of sparked my interest as well. He has done a great video as to where you can go and watch in India. There are no theaters in India that can run 70mm IMAX film, but there are few screens that gives you a better experience compared to regular screens that are nearby in your local cinema. So please, I urge you to watch in the biggest screen possible. It is a slow film. It is 3 hours long. I didn't feel it was slow. I didn't feel there are any scenes that has to be cut down, because I was thoroughly engaged and I was in the edge of the seat. And there are like 2-3 sequences, one which I talked about earlier, and a couple of more sequences that will keep you at the edge of seat, wanting for more and the suspense. And Nolan knows how to keep the audience engaged, and I think this is like his best of screenplays. Personally, for me, again, coming from experience, it will differ for every single person. Hopefully, these stories like these need a bigger canvas like 70mm IMAX, and hopefully this movie kind of springs up a conversation where more filmmakers, DOPs, and other people in this industry try to invest more into this and make more films as well for us to experience. Because mate, once you have seen it in 70mm IMAX, I don't think there is going back. If you go back to an old screen, yeah, it's just not the same experience it is, because from that huge screen, from that the bass that hits you, from the entire experience of seeing the film roll run through, where while I was watching Oppenheimer as well, you can in some frames you can feel the grain in a 65mm black and white film. You can feel the colors, grain, and texture as well. I don't think that digital people add on post filters and grain and stuff, but then this was special, because there are a couple of frames where you can actually see the dust and stuff in some part of the screen. I was like, wow, we are actually watching into true like actual film. And yeah, that is something that you don't get anywhere else. So please watch it. Let me know what you felt about the movie in the comments below, and I will definitely be rewatching it, because the frames from Hoytama and Hoytama in that huge canvas, in that aspect ratio, oh my god, it was phenomenal. And because the first watch was me just sitting at the edge of me, trying to process all the information that has been thrown, and I didn't, even though I absolutely enjoyed it, I need few more watches to completely understand the movie and get to analyze what huge amount of work and stuff that has gone into this film. And yeah, thank you. Hope this was helpful in some way, but then see you guys again in the next video. Bye.